Hey everybody, this is John and welcome to the free video. I want to show you a couple shorter term trades that I'm looking at for tomorrow. At this point, I am looking for the rally on the daily chart to at least get back up to the 21 EMA. That's 166.38. Of course, this is a tricky market to hold longs overnight. So in the short term, I'm looking at this 15-minute squeeze tomorrow with a target at this Voodoo snow line at 164.77. Now that's not much from here, I get it, but it is very tradable, and of course you could do that with the NASDAQ futures as well. If we take a look at the S&Ps, we did have a nice trade today off of the fire line, kind of a picture perfect. You push through it, buy the pullback, and then boom. And that was a nice, quick, easy, low stress trade. And then looking at Tesla, this is one I've been watching too. And again, for a shorter term trade, looking for a move up to that snow line. Of course, on the daily chart, we have a squeeze setting up. The snow line here has been tested multiple times and looking for another test as well. And then in terms of other ones, we did do the earnings trade on CRM today. I do think on this one that we could actually get up to the tree line at 139. Right now, we are at 136.30, and you can see how much time this thing has hovered around that tree line before it ultimately collapsed. So looking for it to kind of come right back in to that level. A couple of other interesting ones here. Alibaba. So we've had that big move here off of the fire line. And again, the fire line here is the number one. The question here is, can we get up enough momentum to head back to the 180 fire line? Okay, that one to me looks very, very interesting. And then for those, what was the other one here that I was looking at? Oh, an Alta. This is a fun stock to trade. This is one where we sold. Well, we had a squeeze here, okay, so that was great. So we got long, and our target was the fire line. But then when the squeeze lost momentum here at the fire line, we were able to sell call credit spreads, and boom, here we are. Now we're back at the snow line, and it's ready to ramp up for another move up there. All right, so that's what I'm looking at in the short term. And then we could talk a little bit more about these lines that you see on the chart. All right, so for the trade that I wanted to look at today and using some of these Voodoo lines. So today, when I got in the room, we were trading up here. I placed limit orders to buy a pullback to the fire line, which is the most powerful Voodoo line out there. We got filled, and then essentially we were looking for a move to new highs, and we made a, this is a move that happened in, about, it was pretty short. And it was good on a 4-lot for about 900 bucks, which was great. And on something like this, these Voodoo lines are very, very powerful levels for day trading, like the S&P futures or the NASDAQ futures, but you can also use them to day trade the Qs, of course, options on the Qs or the spiders as well. All right, so in terms of the Voodoo lines, some of the major things I'm looking at, of course, is that, first of all, the fire line is the strongest. Okay, so the fire line is red. That is number one. The second one is the tree line, which is green. That's number two. We don't see it on this. We'll look at another example. The third one is white. That's the snow line. That's the third strongest. And then you have kind of these blue places or pausing points, certainly very tradable. And then these are kind of the in-between the blue points, and they're also, again, very minor pausing points. They're great for targets, like for the S&Ps and stuff like that too. So a couple things here. Generally, if I'm trading, I'm going to look at the 21-period moving average, and if we're below it, then what I'm looking at doing is shorting rallies to key levels. So I'd love to short that rally to that snow line. We just didn't quite get it, right? So as we're coming down, again, and the blue levels, they're more for day trading. For swing levels, though, I'm looking at the white, green, and the red. So when we're coming down here into this red zone here, that's where I'm selling put credit spreads on the spiders, potentially buying some call options and things like that with at least an expected bounce back to the 21. Same thing here. Yeah, we've kind of pushed through here and stuff like that, but at least right here, looking for a move back up there. The fire line is huge. And earlier I had talked about, let me switch this to CRM on both. I had talked about the tree line, right? That's the second most strong one. And you can see right here that when we initially fell here to this tree line, there's a lot of it. You can see all the activity that came up here. And what happens in something like this is that you get something where it's like, all right, first of all, it acts as a magnet. Okay, so if you break through a list like this, it's a magnet to get to the next one. And now we're pinging back and forth between the snow lines, tree line, snow line, tree line, snow line, tree line. Boom, we come down to the snow line, but we're back to the tree line, down to the snow line, back to the tree line, down to the snow line, back to the tree line, right? And this happens all the time. Okay, now, oh, we fall, hit the snow line, boom, right back up. In this case, big move to the fire line, and then today we've worked our way back up to the snow line. Now after hours, we're up like $10. So we may actually end up petering out right at the tree line once again. It's amazing how these things line up. And for Tesla, one of the trades I've been looking at here is a move to the fire line. Fire line here, again, acts as a magnet. It's been rejected at the snow line, rejected at the snow line, but now we have a squeeze, and I'm looking that we can actually rally up there. Now, if we come over here, we can drill down and say, okay, if you're day trading this, great. If you get in here, then you want to take profits if you get near that, we call it the skyline, but that's a move from 342 to nearly 347. From a day trading perspective, that's just fine. And a similar thing here for Amazon. So for Amazon, once we started to fall, tree line, tree line, tree line. Look how much time it's spent here. Tree line, and then snow line, snow line, snow line, back to that tree line. It's like it has to come there and hang out for a little bit. And then when it breaks, boom. I thought it was going to actually get to the fire line here, but instead, here we are again. Oh, we got to get back there, test the tree, test the tree line again. What's amazing about these levels, though, is that they don't move. You know how like pivots every day they're different, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, they're moving all the time. These never move. They're there for decades. Okay, the levels like in the bond market have been there. I mean, some of these levels have been trading against for decades, literally. And you can see the same thing here. The bonds move against these like clockwork. Like, oh, here we are here, and back to the tree line, and they just boom back and forth here. Or currencies. We can look at EUR/USD. Same thing. Very, very, very technical here in terms of its relationship with these levels. And most people don't know what these are, don't know, but it's like when you see this, it's like, oh, snow line, snow line, snow line, and boom, back to the fire line. And now we have a squeeze. So at this point, I'd look for the potential that we could actually come back down to that tree line. So anyway, these are Voodoo lines, and I would say of all the stuff these are tools that I've been using for 5 years now. And we just haven't talked about them in a while. But I wanted to let you know we're having a sale on them, and I will show you that. All right, so if you look at this, you'll see if you go to simplertrading.com/turning, it'll take you to the sales page, which is called Turning Point Secrets, How Voodoo Lines Predict Price Almost Like Magic. All right. So here's how this works. Again, we haven't done this for 1.5 years since the last time we did this. Essentially, there's 2 packages of the Voodoo lines. There's futures only, and that includes currencies, indexes, and things like that too. And then there's a stocks add-on, which also includes ETFs. Each one is $9.97. Futures only is $9.97 by itself. Stocks add-on is $9.97 plus $97 a month because the levels have to be updated frequently. Our special is that you can actually get both for $9.97. Okay, so instead of $9.97 plus $9.97, which is whatever that is, $1,984 or maybe $94. Plus $97 a month, you can actually get it for $9.97 plus $47 a month. And again, the $47 a month is for updates. Most of the updates are here, but there are also updates here as the range expands. People ask, what is your #1 tool that you've been using over the last 4 or 5 years? This is it. These levels today are pretty much, and again, the nice thing about them is they don't change. They are there all the time, and they act as magnets. You can see where that red fire line is months in advance and say, oh gosh, here's Apple, it's going to head up to that level, or it's going to roll back down to that level, and they just ping pong back and forth. Now, in addition to this, we're actually offering live trading with this, so you can see how to use them as well as a strategy class. So if you scroll down, you'll see what else is included with this, and essentially you get a strategy class on Thursday, November 29th from 5 to 7 Central, and that is with David Starr, and he is the guy who created this stuff. And so he's going to show you all the different ways that he uses them. He's going to do a live trading session on Monday, December 3rd, and then I am going to do a live trading session on Thursday, December 6th. Okay, and so all that stuff, you get the indicator plus all this stuff to learn how to use it. And again, like a lot of these things, a lot of the times the way it works out, especially because these levels are so strong, is that oftentimes we end up making enough money in the class to actually pay for the tools themselves. Okay, so again, real quick, simplertrading.com/turning. Typically these are $9.97 each. This time you can actually get both for $9.97 plus a reduced monthly fee and sign up for the classes. Now, if you already have the Voodoo lines and you're already a subscriber to the Voodoo lines, guess what? You can just come to the classes. And if you bought the Voodoo lines in the past and you don't have the subscription anymore, you can just renew it and you can also participate in the live trading. All right. So if you have any questions, send us an email, support@simplertrading.com. Otherwise, looking forward to seeing you on the live trading sessions. And also just, it's always fun when people get these, just how they just don't believe that something like this can work this much time after time after time. And so what's great about this is during the classes, you actually get to see understand the logic behind them, why they work, and it's just pretty fascinating. So there you go. And again, this is not a tool I created. David Starr created it. He sent it to me like 5 years ago. I get sent a lot of stuff, and I kind of brushed it off, and he was finally like, no, you really need to look at this. You're going to love it. And I finally did. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then we'll talk about why I call it Voodoo. I named it Voodoo lines because I think they're voodoo, but they work. So there you go. All right, hope it helps. Have a good one. See you at the next update.